Ready to power up your business results? In today's show, we discuss with Grant Finer from Business Strategy New Zealand why networking is still one of the best ways to grow your business. We explore how unique marketing ideas by Helen Wright established Rhubarb Cafe as a Dunedin hotspot. Then lead advisor and founder from The Engine Limited, Catherine Cooke, shares some tips on how to help your business grow. It's all here on The Engine Business Show.
Kia ora and welcome to the Engine Business Show. I'm Monique Bradley and I'm excited to help you amp up your business success with the Engine. Now, if you're not familiar with the Engine is one of New Zealand's leading business advisory organisations based here in Auckland. And to get the show started, we have a little tip of wisdom from the founder and lead advisor of the Engine, Catherine Cooke. Catherine, what have you got for us today?
Well, hi Monique, have we got all day? Have we really got all day? Look, I really want to just start off with delegate to elevate. I see so many business owners trying to do everything in the business. They're in a warehouse 1 minute, they're invoicing the next, they're answering the phone. You really should just stick to your knitting and outsource. It really isn't expensive. You'll keep your sanity and you'll be able to keep yourself on track to do the things that you do really, really well. So delegate to elevate.
Well, as a business owner or entrepreneur, we all know that journey can be quite lonely. Often no one gets us. We work extremely long hours and there are so many challenges that most people won't understand if they don't own their own business. Thankfully, we have a great person out there in the community bringing entrepreneurs and business owners together through Business Strategy New Zealand. Please welcome Principal Connector Grant Finer to the studio. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, Monique. It's great to be here.
I almost wish we had a big audience here congratulating you, because what a year we had last year. How incredible is it to bring people back together in real life?
It feels really great, Monique. It was about a year ago now that we first started going into that lockdown. And I remember at this time in April, so we'd had our lockdown, I was trying to understand how we would need to pivot our business in order to continue bringing communities together, even though we were virtual. And all of us went through that period of having to go through those long video meetings in that early part. It just wasn't the same as getting together and connecting, was it? So I was so thankful when, in around about October and November, we were able to get back out again and really start to network in person and feel that energy that only comes together when you start to get like-minded individuals around a topic.
I totally agree. Look, I'm a fan of your networking events. I've been to so many of them. I've spoken at them as well. And that energy around bringing people together. Tell me what prompted you to set up Business Strategy New Zealand and all these incredible events?
Well, it's not really about me, Monique. It's about the sentiment inside the community. We've got, particularly in Kiwi land, but also around the world, we've got people that have got that drive, that spark, that entrepreneurial spirit that drives them to want to achieve more, do more with what they're after, their mission. And because there are so many of these people kind of creating this community, there's a real groundswell for people to want to get together and share ideas. So almost I had to react by creating an environment for people to kind of get together, and that's where Business Strategy Networking was born. And the whole idea of the community was to connect and promote people who love what they do. And we bake that into every element of our culture. So all of our networking events, all of our connection events, our learning, our speakers, all flow into that so that we can create this great environment, welcoming new people into the group to learn and to connect and to grow together.
Wow. And I mean, I find you very empowering as a person. You're an empowered and excited entrepreneur yourself. So tell me about your own entrepreneurial journey, because you've worn many hats in your life, right?
It came out, the word is passion, right? And it came out last night, and we heard people talk about how they feel about being a part of this group because it's infused with passion right from the outset. And I think that being in a position where you love what you do and you can do what you love is something that is the birthright of everybody, and being able to help them discover that, and also understanding that it's not the same for everybody. We're all personalities along a different spectrum, but being able to find that key area, that area where all all of a sudden the hours just melt away, and even the money, it's not for the money, you're just doing things, and all of a sudden you go into that magical flow state where you're just in this amazing environment. Because I work a lot with small business people, I've noticed that when people leave, maybe leave the corporate world, they discover that all of a sudden there's a lot more moving pieces to running an operating business than they might have expected. And I believe that the way for people to be able to be successful in an environment is to get together, to partner. Finding complementary personalities that can each do a job that they do really, really well, and then be able to put that together for an overall outcome.
Oh, look, I totally agree. And what I've noticed too about these networking events, they're a little bit different from your average networking group as well. So every meeting that I've been to, and I don't even know how many I've been to now, so many, you've had different people every time. You've had lots of newcomers, and you've had people at every level of the entrepreneurial journey, whether they're very successful big business owners or even enterprise level businesses, right through to those people who are even at that startup. So they've got a concept or idea. Was that the vision from the get-go?
Yes, very much so. So I wanted to create a space within which people could arrive and thrive. There's a lot of curiosity that goes on, inside each one of us, and trying to figure out, particularly at the early stage of that business journey, when you're looking for inspiration, you're looking for mentoring, you're just looking for some great ideas or some people to bounce ideas off. Then in that middle stage of the business journey, you're concerned about things like profitability, like how do I scale correctly? How do I manage the ratio of my employees? How do I make sure that I'm building long-term brand equity at the same time as making sales and bringing money in the door each month? And then at that top end, it's about how do I give back? How can I discover more and be able to contribute to the community? And so with our culture, I've worked very hard to create an open environment within which we can attract all of these different people together, all like-minded around the purpose that if people can connect, then business can grow.
Oh, I love that. And also there's that knowledge transference that I think comes from seeing somebody who is at that kind of seed idea concept, talking to somebody who is doing something similar at enterprise level, and being able to share that knowledge and information. I saw that at the meeting that we went to last night that you hosted. Is that the type of interaction that you would hope would happen at every meeting?
Absolutely, and we try to work that in very, very well. Earlier you said that you get a great diversity of people at these groups, and that's very true. Our group now numbers more than 6,000 people, so we've got every different walk of life, every different background, every different industry, and creating that inclusion is something that's very important to me, and so I've tried to bake that into our culture at every level. One of the things that we did is I noticed that we were attracting people from all different industries, and of course, as I said earlier, you need every industry in order to create a successful enterprise. So I thought, well, what we'll do is we'll give each different industry an opportunity to share what it is that they do, and then they can inspire the group around that particular topic, give them some great thought points, even for people like last night's topic was sales. So we had people in the audience who would not describe themselves as natural salespeople.
That's so true.
But when we were talking with people after the talk last night, you heard those gems, those one or two things that they said, do you know what, I hadn't thought about trying that. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to give that a try.
Wow.
So as we progress across our different meetings, we can talk about all these different topics. We can talk about sales. We can talk about business startup. We can talk about human resources and relations and diversity. We can talk about accounting and crunching the numbers. We can talk about marketing and getting yourself out there. And everybody can learn a little bit while being engrossed and ensconced in this great atmosphere and meeting partners that might help them along on their business journey.
Awesome. So for entrepreneurs who may not be in the Auckland region, because that's where you're based right now, if they're outside of Auckland, should they be looking for a networking group in their area, or should they be coming up to Auckland and joining you? Absolutely.
So I'm a great believer in the power of networking, the power of bringing people together and connection. Last year, we all were forced to connect digitally, and that had its ups and its downs. And because of the change that we all went through, we're probably not going to go back to the way that we did things in 2019 and previously. What we're going to do going forward is going to be some kind of combination of the different ways of getting together. And so one of the ways in which I've pivoted business strategy networking to take advantage of that is to increase our online presence. And a great example is the library of entrepreneur videos that we create.
Great.
All of the speakers that come along are able to share their knowledge, their presentations, and then we can make that available for people wherever they are. In fact, not just around New Zealand, but globally, to take advantage of what's happening in these trends. And then we've got the opportunity for people to connect digitally with online events and other types of things as well, while very much still remaining true to the fact that the more personal we can make the networking, the stronger the connections can become.
Oh, I love that. Even that is a gem in itself. The more that we can make it personal, the more magic we create, I guess. I love that, Grant. Well, if you want to find out more about how to grow your entrepreneurial journey, you can do that by connecting directly to Business Strategy New Zealand. Here's a link that you need to check out, Business Strategy New Zealand's website. You can see that on your screen there. Make sure you get in touch, and also make sure you connect in with Grant Finer via LinkedIn. He's got a very strong presence there and is sharing regular video content too, I noticed, Grant, to help inspire other business owners and entrepreneurs. Any final tips, Grant?
Really just embrace the journey that we're on. We're all inside entrepreneurial, no matter what role it is that we play in life. And the opportunity to really seize that and go with it is something that everybody deserves. And I think that people need to get out there and take it.
Grant, I love it. Thank you. Another one of those tweetable moments. Thank you so much, Grant Finer.
Thanks for having me, Monique.
Thank you. As business owners and entrepreneurs, it's important to consider different ways of helping your business or brand stand out in the market. And somebody who's really caught my attention is Helen Wright and the team from Rhubarb Cafe in Dunedin. Helen, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, Monique. It's
all the way up here in
Yeah.
Auckland. Thank you for commuting. Now, Helen, I love Rhubarb. I've checked you out online. You've got an incredible brand story. So first of all, for people who aren't familiar with your cafe in Dunedin, tell us all about it.
Right, so we've been in business for 16 and a half years. We opened on Armistice Day in 2004. So
Wow.
we've always strongly aligned ourselves with Anzac and also with Armistice, 11th of November, of course. And that sort of started to build ourselves as part of that kind of let's celebrate all things, anything. Really, anything and everything.
Any excuse to connect with people.
And obviously, I can talk about all the decorating and things we do, but fundamentally we're a cafe. Our food is really simple, homemade. Almost everything is homemade on premises. The only kind of things that we bring in are from a fabulous bakery across the road, Friday Shop. But other than that, we bring, we make it all ourselves. Sam's a 5th generation baker.
Wow.
And we put that passion, we explore things. If we're going to make a cupcake, then it has to be the best, most interesting cupcake. I talked to the man about how do I get a straight up and down cupcake paper, and he thought I was bonkers. But the second time I approached him, he went, I think we can do that. And,
Wow.
And so you just start drawing on all those things, and next thing you're creating a brand that people seem to enjoy.
And this is what I've noticed. I've scoped you out so much online, and you have this incredible brand presence and incredible brand loyalty within your community.
Yeah, we really do.
You and Sam behind the brand Rhubarb. What do you think has been the driver for building that community outreach?
Well, I think that I'm from a small community in Taranaki, but Sam is from... He grew up just down the road from where Rhubarb is situated. And I think that that's not necessarily what people know about us to start with, but I think that our roots are so firmly planted in community that that's something that we just wanted to feel. And so we share all of those things. We know our customers, we know their story from the tots that come in who now, 16 and a half years later, we've seen kids who were primary school who are now mothers.
Wow.
And it's like, it doesn't seem possible.
So Rhubarb's essentially as part of the family as those people's family.
Yeah.
You've been there the whole part, the whole step, every step of that journey. So brand loyalty is something that's really hard for many brands to establish. When it comes to that journey and to have that length of customer, being there with you, what do you think are the things that have really stood out? What have you done to ensure that they keep coming back?
Well, I think giving a good, honest product for a good, honest price. Our food is great. It's made on the premises. There's no, as a woman from my hometown said once, there's no frills and fell-de-rails about what we do. We don't. We had a bad review once that said about our eggs Benedict or our poached eggs or whatever. Don't they know that poached eggs are supposed to look like a ball of mozzarella? It's like, no, we don't know that.
You just do it your way.
We just do good old poached eggs. We don't get fancy. We don't have all your, occasionally we throw a bit of microgreens somewhere, but it's good, honest food. What you see is what you get.
Wow.
And I think that's the whole thing across our whole philosophy. We didn't start to share that part of ourselves where we decorated everything until 2011, when we got hit in Dunedin with not only a Rugby World Cup, but prior to that, a royal wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those don't come along every day.
They do not.
They do not come along every day. So we went, right, we're going to have a royal wedding party. As luck would have it, we're 12 hours apart. How good of them to have their wedding on, they had it at sort of lunchtime.
Yes.
Which meant, or 11 o'clock, I think it was. And so perfect with the daylight saving and what have you to have a party at Rhubarb. We sold tickets. People came in their hats. But prior to that, I wrote a letter and invited the Queen to come to our version of the royal wedding.
Incredible. How tenacious. Such good Kiwi innovation.
Well, yeah. Somebody told me that, in fact, I think it was my chef at the time said, did you know that if you write to the Queen, and people should know this, if you write to the Queen, you will get a response.
That's amazing.
So people write and invite them to their own wedding. And I thought, well, I'll just be a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So I said, and in fact, I even sent one to Catherine and William and said, if you're looking at a more low-key alternative, I can tell you you'll be very welcome.
I think that's brilliant. And this was one of the things that really stood out when I was researching for today's interview, is just all these little things you've done which are a little bit out of the box, but have really cemented you into the fabric of Dunedin, which we all know is a creative, wonderful city.
Yes.
Tell me about some of those other initiatives, because I hear there's been a few.
There have been a few. So with when you start to sort of share that part of yourself, because I've always loved parties and theme parties. My Halloween parties have a bit of a history. But of course now all of that energy goes into the business. And so in 2011, after the royal wedding, we did get a letter back from the Queen, by the way.
Wow. What was the response?
Well, her letter was fantastic, because we got one from Catherine and William, and it just showed the difference in the maturity of the teams, because clearly it's not written by them.
Right.
But Catherine and William's was, thank you very much. They were overwhelmed by the support they're getting. But the Queen's actually mentioned Dunedin and said that she thought we would be, that it would be a lovely event and blah, blah. So it was just that little more personalised. That got us on the front page of the ODT and on the 6 o'clock news.
Wow.
So that was amazing. And people just they thought it was hilarious, and it just added to that warmth of the brand. But that was followed by the Rugby World Cup, of course, being staged. We hosted England. And so we changed the flags, we decorated. That's where bunting came into our lives in big, big order. And every Monday of those weeks, we would change the flags to the different countries. So we had England would stay, and then the different flags. And the walking school bus would be going by on a Tuesday, and they would stop and be tested on what the flags were that had been put in the window. Oh. And that really warmed my heart, because I thought, we're actually teaching kids something. Yeah. So we go to a lot of effort. Any World Cup that's on in New Zealand, we go to our print people and we get a big poster printed. And so we have the scores and things, and we put everything up. Every time there's a game, people come in, they talk about it, whether it's soccer or cricket or... And, they're not easily found, those things. We have to do a lot of research to get the games right, because there's a lot of armchair critics in that cafe.
So true, and you can't afford to get that wrong, right?
Oh, no.
So I guess really, like the Queen's team, it's about those attention to details and connecting in a meaningful way, which has really helped you with the brand identity in your area. Would that be right?
Yes. I think people come in, and even through lockdown last year, we live about 500 metres from the cafe. So we could go up there on our walk, and we would pop into the cafe to make sure, of course, for safety reasons, make sure there wasn't a leak.
Of course.
But through lockdown, we had Anzac Day, Mother's Day and Easter. And so we would just sneak in with a box of things, and we decorated the windows. And people said that when they were going by on their walks, that they really felt, they're still here because the windows were still done.
Wow.
And that was a really important thing for us, to just get in there, didn't involve anybody else, just got our stuff up and snuck out again.
Yeah, such a great way to still keep connected to your community.
People keep looking in going, it's Easter. They might, look, there's the Easter bunny, and off we go.
Oh, wow. So after COVID, what did that do for your community? Did it drive people back in the door?
Yes, it did. We started an initiative when we were locked down with nothing to do, which was kind of a double-edged sword, but it was fantastic. Rest. We said we can't make coffee and deliver it to people. People were putting apps up and all these things, and that's not who we are. We're not interested in no frills and fal-de-rals.
Yeah.
And when even people who ring us and go, hey, look, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. Can you make me 2 flat whites and I'll be in the door? We don't make them. Because if they get caught up or they can't get a park and they walk in and those coffees have been sitting there for 5 minutes, when they drive away, they don't remember that they held us up. They just remember that they got a rubbish coffee from Rhubarb. So we know most of these people, so we wait till we see them getting out of their car or crossing the road, and then the next coffee's up. So when they walk in the door, their coffees are done and out the door.
Wow.
They wouldn't know, but we don't make them because they rang in. We just put them front and centre.
So people first, attention to details, and out of the box. That's what I'm getting out of this. That sums up Rhubarb.
Yeah, it does.
And my understanding is you like to do things a little differently. That's your tagline.
Yes, it is, a little bit different. Because when we first opened, we had an on and an off license with wine. So we ran one half of it with a cafe in the middle of it with wines on the shelves. But 8 years later, the authorities decided, with the changes in the Liquor Licensing Act, that they couldn't sustain us having both. So we changed it. So to start with, it was a little bit different because of that. We hesitated in keeping it, but actually it is a little bit different because no one else puts up 50 metres of RSA bunting for Anzac. In fact, they gave it to us because they said nobody else puts up the bunting.
Yeah.
No one else anywhere goes to the extreme that we do.
Oh, I love it. And for business owners out there who are looking for a little bit of inspiration or motivation, I highly recommend that you follow the Rhubarb Facebook page and steal some of the ideas. And if you want to reach out and find out more about Rhubarb Cafe online, check out their website. Here's the screen with all the details for you so you can reach out and find out more. And here's the link for their Facebook page. Make sure you connect. Helen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have learnt so much from our chat today, and I'm glad you guys are doing things so differently. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we all know as business owners and entrepreneurs, we are often at the mercy of our clients who need us 24/7. So how do we maintain wellness and well-being in our business and still love what we do? To help us out with that and share some insights is the lead business advisor and founder of The Engine, Catherine Cooke. Welcome to the studio.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you feeling today?
I'm actually feeling really great today.
Fantastic. Yeah. So you're in an advisory role. You're also the founder of The Engine. You are Superwoman. We are up chatting quite late at night sometimes talking about business. How do you personally maintain wellness in your own life and still serve your clients?
Yeah, look, it's a challenge. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but the reality is that I know how far I can go with myself before I need to actually just stop and take a breath and just take some time out. I'm also very lucky that I've got a supportive group of providers around me, as well as obviously an amazing husband who constantly looks out for me. But look, at the end of the day, I think for me personally, I tend to put businesses before myself. Because I know what they're going through, and for me that's my priority. It might be wrong. I probably should put myself first, but I don't.
Okay. And this is what this chat is about. It's about that honesty.
Yes.
And you are also an example of what a lot of your clients go through as well.
Yeah.
So as a business advisor, when you're coming in to work with them, when you're seeing they're on the verge of that burnout, what are the key things that you're helping them with to transform that process and preserve a bit of their sanity in some cases?
Yeah, look, I think the reality is that for people to be able to share where they're at, you've got to share where you're at. So I can talk to them from a place of experience. I've had adversity as a business owner. I've sat on the couch. I've wondered how I can keep going myself. And I guess not everyone can build resilience up quickly, and it depends on who you've got around you to support you. And, I've been lucky enough to have a good support crew around me, when I'm still in business now, but when I've had those moments. And so when I can actually draw from those experiences and talk to people, they just tell me everything, they unravel the whole thing. And I say to them, I can only help if I know. If I don't know, I can't help. And they're sharing things with me that, they should be sharing with their spouses or a counsellor or their accountant, their other trusted advisors, but they share it with me because I've shared with them.
Wow. So it's being present, meeting them where they are. Do you think that's been part of that journey?
Yeah, look, I asked a difficult question because I can actually hear what they're not telling me. And I know it sounds really weird. How can you do that? Like people say to me, do you have a crystal ball? I wish I did. It would make life a lot easier. But the reality is I can see through them. And it's just an amazing skill that I have, and maybe it's from, watching people as I was growing up as a child. I've been a people watcher most of my life, but the reality is I've also gone through that adversity, so I can come from a place of truth. And burnout is actually something that is not enjoyable. It has such a major impact on you, and for me personally, it was actually impacting on my health. And I had aches, and I'm tired, and I just wanted to go to bed. So you just don't realise the impact it has on you, not just in a business sense, but a personal sense. And if you're not operating at 100% personally, then you can't be operating at 100% in your business.
Of course. And what we've seen, obviously, over the last sort of couple of years, or particularly the last year, is the impact of COVID on businesses as well. Yeah. So we're not just seeing personal fatigue, we're seeing businesses fatigue and disappear. Obviously, as a business advisor, you don't want to be at the bottom of the cliff with those businesses. You want to be that fence at the top. Yes. So what are the things that you're helping with businesses before the business suffers burnout? What are those key things?
I go back to communication as being the first key thing, is that we've got to be talking about it. We've got to be having courageous conversation. And there has to be some bravery in that too. And so it's getting the businesses, as in the employees and the employers, to have an open dialogue around where they're feeling. I'm also highlighting with business owners, their obligations under health and safety, as well as the employees, because a lot of people think health and safety is about hurting yourself, but it is actually about mental wellness. Yes. I guess if I go back to COVID and what you talked about with COVID, last year, I think of it like, we all go through different stages of emotion when people die. Yeah. COVID was a bit like that. We came in with this whole shock, and then this, oh my God, what do I do next? And then for some people it was reactive. For some people it was, get online and talk to your people, get them on Zooms and check in with them and see how they're going. It's been interesting watching businesses this year actually forget some of what they did last year, and I'm trying to encourage them to do that and keep it going, keep the toolbox meetings going, have that regular barbecue once a fortnight, just really do that. But talk to your customers as well. Don't just shut the door for 6 weeks and go, we'll talk to you in 6 weeks' time when the government says we can go out and do business again, So communication and connection is a big word for you as well. Oh, look, absolutely. Last year and even this year, I've connected businesses with some of our providers. John Shackleton, Yvonne Letton, to name a few. These are people that, they would, like myself, give the shirt off their back to help you. And, I've had business owners at my door expressing to me about where they're at with things that, only really the crisis management of hospitals would be dealing with. And I don't want to go into too much detail because obviously that, is something, it's a hot topic, but really is quite personal. But when I've got a client coming to me, and, we always talk about the employees, and it's really important because without the employees, we don't have a business. But also without an employer, we don't have a business. So it's about also getting the employee to look after the boss as well as the boss looking after the employee. And it's about building really good, solid culture.
I've just had one of those tweetable moments, as Oprah would say. That's a really big one. I think often we forget about the impact of that two-way relationship. Catherine, thank you. Another brilliant chat as always. And if you are experiencing signs or symptoms of distress, please reach out. Here's some details of how you can get some support. And if you want to tap into Catherine and have those courageous conversations, here's how you can get in touch. Catherine, thank you so much. A pleasure as always.
Thanks. Really appreciate being on the show.